Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Jay, here to talk again about the ongoing saga of the Bloodline. Bloodline, yeah, the Bloodline, of course, the biggest story in the WWE, and now that The Rock has joined the Bloodline and turned heel and joined the Bloodline storyline just got even better. Paul Heyman last night on Smackdown pro- uh, promised that next week both the tribal chief and the people's champ, Rock and Roman Reigns, will be there. So it'll be interesting to see how this is all shaping up. Will we see a tag team match at Elimination Chamber? We don't know because we don't know if Seth Rollins will be ready for that. We know that Seth Rollins' injuries are healing up, ready for whatever match at WrestleMania. Speaking of which, Sami Zayn lost a lost a qualifying match to Randy Orton last night as well. Seems like Sami Zayn, the mighty have fallen with Sami. Just a year ago at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, we were all hoping, and at least I was, rooting for Sami to defeat Roman Reigns, a culmination of the bloodline. Who can forget the reaction that he got at the Royal Rumble 2023 when he couldn't take no more of Roman Reigns' abuse, of Jimmy Uso's abuse, right? And he just dropped the chair. He was gonna hit his best friend Kevin Owens with a chair, and then he hits Roman Reigns with a chair, and the place just exploded. And then I thought, well, they got to give him the championship at in Montreal, his hometown, right? No, they didn't. They went with Cody. But how the tables have turned. He was the underdog. He was the one that the fans wanted, not Cody. And I predicted back then that they could drag it out to WrestleMania 40 and he could be the challenger that fans wanted and Cody be the reject. Not anticipating, of course, that The Rock would come back and interject himself into the storyline or that CM Punk would make a return. But anyway, Sami Zayn loses his qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. So Sammy is ironically back down to where he was prior to WrestleMania 28 when he was just a jobber. Um, so yeah, but I was thinking they could somehow end the Judgment Day storyline by having Finn Balor and Damian Priest lose the tag team championships to The Rock and Roman Reigns. So The Rock and Roman Reigns go uh, into WrestleMania as the tag team champions. Because uh, Judgment Day is not that good. The only thing people really like about Judgment Day is Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. As a matter of fact, at the press conference, it's unclear who's going to face uh, Rhea Rhea Ripley. We know that Io Sky is going to put her title up. Bailey's going to be challenging for Io Sky because Bailey's already made that choice. But it's not clear who Rhea Ripley is going to face. Some anticipate because of the stare down they had, what was it, last year, between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, that they want that to be the match. Others say Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch gets tons and tons of title shots. There's no need for Becky Lynch to face Rhea Ripley. But I did like the line she said at the press conference, though. She said, uh, in a strong Irish accent, "Mommy's gonna learn to be a bottom." Because and Rhea Ripley's like, "Really?" She's like, "That's what happens when the man comes around." And then the the mic just dropped. You know what I mean? An allusion to a sapphic love affair between these two fanfic writers. Get to typing. You have some WWE erotica to type with. Rhea Ripley getting it or lesing it up with Becky Lynch. Let's go. But I'm pretty sure that would make Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins pretty happy boys. if they were to see that, you know. So that's pretty much it. We have no idea what the tag team champions are doing. We have no idea what Gunther is doing. Gunther, the whole shit about Brock Lesnar, man, being banned from the WWE because of the Vince allegations, the alleged Vince allegations, is bullshit. Brock didn't do anything. All Brock did was request a video of the girl taking a urinating and nude pics. They should just bring Brock back to the WWE. We want to see that match with he and Gunther. Now they're positioning Gunther to take on freaking Jay Uso for the Intercontinental Championship, which is bullshit. You know, like who wants to see that? Not me. You know, we know that Gunther can deliver those hard ass blows. He's a very hard hitting wrestler. You want to see him in there with another hard hitting wrestler, not Jay freaking Uso. Um, what else? No mention of the tag team championships, like I said. Who knows what Randy Orton's doing at WrestleMania? I could foresee a match because there was a confrontation last night between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. I could foresee that. As far as AEW's announcement of Mercedes Money, aka Sasha Banks, coming to the company, still nothing. Tony Khan keeps holding out, holding out. All the Sasha Banks fans want to see all the Mercedes Money. Well, she doesn't go by Sasha Banks no more, but Mercedes Money fans want to see her make her debut, make a big splash in the AEW scene because AEW needs it now. AEW has lost so much over the past few months with over the past 2 years, really, with Cody Rhodes leaving, with CM Punk leaving, with Andrade leaving, and attendance in the United States has been down drastically. That's why they had to go over to England this past summer and do the show at Wembley Stadium. They kind of in 2023 they repeated what WWE did in 1992 when their ratings were real low. Or what TNA did in the mid 2000s when their ratings were real low. When all else fails, go to another country where they don't have that much wrestling and he will sell out. And that's what WWE did to get themselves back on their feet when they started going to Saudi Arabia in 2018. You know, so they need something on the domestic market, in the U.S. market, to boost their ratings. As far as other news besides wrestling, outside of wrestling, politics, they're still trying to deny Donald Trump place on the ballot in several states, including Colorado and New Jersey. Joe Biden mixes up various presidents, various heads of state that he claimed that he was just on the phone with. One being Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the president of Egypt, mixed him up with the president of Mexico. He's got so many issues. He's got Middle Eastern issues. He's got issues here at home with the border. You know, he can't control Mayorkas. They're about to kick him out. You know what I mean? Biden's just losing it, but Trump isn't doing any better necessarily because they won't let him on the ballot in several states. So what does it mean when a presidential candidate who is the presidential candidate, who is the guy that's beating everybody? Christie dropped out. Ramaswamy is dropped out. The only one is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley lost against herself. She was the only one running, and she freaking still didn't get enough votes in the South Carolina primary. Give it up, Nikki Haley. You're never going to be the president. The Never Nikki movement is just too far gone. You know what I'm saying? The only one in the in the Republican race that is any good is Donald Trump. He's just such a juggernaut that the other candidates, they're not even trying. You know what I mean? They are not even trying. They are still behind him. He's here and they're here, right? He's he's it's like if this was the New York City Marathon, he's in Brooklyn. They're already at the finish line in Staten Island. Too far gone. But that's sad. That's sad given how much damage we did in 2020, how much damage COVID did to this country. That Joe Biden has performed so poorly, both with his pullout in Iraq in 2020, I mean, his pullout of Afghanistan in 2021, his involvement financially in the conflicts in the Ukraine and Gaza in 2022 and 2023, respectively, and just his overall performance economically has been so terrible. And the border crisis is the icing on the cake that the public has turned on Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? And I like Joe. I voted for him in 2020, but the public has turned on him. They're ready to go back to Trump. You know what I mean? It's like if your new boyfriend is so much worse than your old boyfriend that you're like, okay, now I want to go back to this old guy. You know what I mean? That was abusive. I don't blame them. You know what I'm saying? I might 2020. I'm gonna sit this one out because I don't know who to vote for if it comes down to Biden or Trump. Both were terrible. Uh, 20 2016 to 2020 was a great economy, but it was nothing but conflicts each and every day. Impeachment trials, Charlottesville, Black Lives Matter, this and that, right? And people could say, well, it was the Democrats trying to deny him, right? Trying to say that he didn't win they couldn't believe that he defeated Hillary, who was almost guaranteed the election way back, even 8 years before that in 2008. Just like she stepped aside for Obama to have his moment, and then she lost to Trump. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, it's like, all right, I'll step aside. I'll make you Secretary of State, and you know, and come 8 years after my term is up, you can run. You know what I mean? But she still didn't win. She was projected to win in 2008, didn't win in 2008. She was projected to win in 2016. She didn't win in 2016. And she lost to guys that were highly unlikely that they would be elected, guys with minimal experience. Trump with no experience at all, and Obama with just 2 years of experience in the Senate at that particular point. You know, both relative novice in the scene on the scene compared to her, a reality TV show star and a black man in a heavily racialized country. Unbelievable. But Hillary, that just goes to show you how unlikable Hillary was on both cases, especially 2016. So we went with the lesser of two evils, Trump, and Trump got us into a lot of drama with each other. Most of our conflicts under the Trump administration were eternal, you know, going at each other for different racial reasons. A bunch and he leaned into a lot of our divisiveness, our fear about immigrants, our fear about Syrian refugees, our fear about um, the rise of the LGBT movement, the rise of Islamic fundamentalism in the form of ISIS. So it wasn't a bad time economically, 2016 to 2020, but it was a terrible time. It was a terrible time in regards to the polarization of our nation. And then in 2020, the economic crisis happened, COVID happened. Trump failed to act. He, as much bluster as he talked, and as much shit as he talked with regards to China, when China actually threatened our country, he did nothing about it. You know what I mean? He just sat there and let COVID happen and told us to eat Lysol. and just wash our hands. I mean, granted, he did put out the vaccine, uh, pretty quickly, or tried to anyway. But half of his base, including a lot of his hardcores like Candace Owens, didn't even want to take the vaccine. You know, so now 4 years later in 2024, people are missing him because they miss the stimuluses. They miss. I think a lot of people too miss the drama. That's why for the whole presidency, we've still focused on his personal drama more so than Biden's terrible policies. Anyway, peace. That's just a little bit of ranting and raving about both politics and professional wrestling. Love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. Love y'all.